Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tuniacs Good Sam ESP webinar hosted by Stuckey & Company. My name is Tyler Bechtold, the Business Development Representative here at Stuckey, and we appreciate everyone joining us today and for your time this Wednesday afternoon. It does appear we have a few people still logging on. However, let's go through a few things before we get started. First, if you'd like to ask a question during the webinar, over on the right-hand side on the Go to Webinar Control panel, please ask any questions. We will certainly try to get to some of those questions as much as we can. And if not, we will get back to you via email and answer your questions after the webinar. And also, I'll be sending a follow-up email after the webinar as well, which includes a link to the webinar, the recording, also the PowerPoint presentation. I'll be providing a PDF copy. Also, we'll have a Tuniacs appetite guide and, of course, the ESP registration document, which we'll also be going over here shortly. So about us, Stuckey & Company is an MGA, and we provide our insurance agents and brokers with innovative insurance programs along with excellent service that they need to ensure long-term growth and success. As of today, Stuckey now has 9 specialty insurance programs for our agents, where we have access to top A-rated carriers such as the Hartford, Travelers, MetLife, Chubb, Safeco, just to name a few. And as of today also, Stuckey has completed its 26 successful years in the business and started our 27th year here in 2018, while serving over 200,000 customers and providing excellent unmatched service from our 151 promise. And what we do here at Stuckey, we create niche specialty insurance programs such as Tuniacs, and do everything from underwriting to rating, quoting your business, binding, policy issuance, endorsements and change requests. We go through the renewal process with you, invoicing and billing, reporting, systems integration, claims, marketing, and training, such as this webinar today. Here's a list of 8 of our specialty insurance programs we offer here at Stuckey. First, we have our Safety Tech Technology E&O Insurance Program, Aspire A&E for architects and engineers, Arbor Guard, Stuckey's first program started 27 years ago, which handles marinas and boat dealers. We, of course, have our miscellaneous professional liability, which consists of over 320 classes in MPL. And we have Element, our green energy industry program. Personal lines, which includes anything from home, auto, boat, renters, high-value home, just to name a few. Then we have, of course, our commercial lines, which includes BOP, work comp, commercial auto, bonds, and more. And then lastly, of course, we have also our surplus lines markets, which includes any risk that falls outside of our underwriting guidelines. Okay, first I'd like to quickly go through a few of the, the Tuniacs Business Insurance Program. And then I'd like to pass the presentation on to Dylan Stuckey here at Stuckey & Company, our insurance service specialist. And then we'll pass it over to Frank and Paul to explain the Good Sam ESP. So at the end of the session, we like to show you, for one, the value of our product, the opportunities available, and then, of course, the ESP product, and how to generate income, not just for you, but also for your shop and the shops that you insure. So with that said, I'd like to now pass the presentation over to Dylan Stuckey, our lead auto services specialist here at Stuckey & Company. And he would like to go through a little bit further detail about Stuckey's Tuniacs program.
Well, hey guys, thank you again for joining us on this webinar, and thank you, Tyler, for getting us started today. Just to kind of go over some of our values here at Stuckey & Company. We are placing our coverage with top-rated carriers, providing the lowest premiums, starting at $500, and top-paid commissions available as high as 15%. We also have a very specialty for this automotive service coverages and knowledge. We feel that we have unprecedented knowledge in this space. And we also acknowledge ASE and other industry certifications to give credit to the shops that have these and other certifications. If you want to grab the next slide. So some of the other things that Tuniacs provides is an easy placement. Submit your applications. There are no supplemental applications needed. Simple accords will work just fine. We can get you quoted and get your order in as quick as today. We have transparent underwriting. Any questions that you are concerned with or have questions about, we will absolutely answer them. And we follow all of that with our 151 promise, which means that if you get a submission in by 1, it will be out by 5 before the end of the day. And if it is in by 5, it will be out by 1 the next day. So we are sure to catch any submissions and to make sure that we are on top of all of your questions and make sure that we are quoting you accurately. So this is some of our appetite guide here. General auto repair with no gas pump, transmission repair, service and installation. Retail tire dealers is a great one that we've been seeing a lot of. Auto glass replacement and installation as well as repair. Oil changes and lubrication services, sound communication, equipment sales, installation, and repairs done to automotive vehicles as well as SUVs, small trucks, and medium duty vehicles, as well as body and collision repair shops. So that's not something that you see very often that some carriers are offering coverage for. So Tyler, if you'd take us to the next one, thank you. So this is just a graphic representation of some of the class eligibility that the shop may be working on. It goes as far as AC, glass, audio, brakes, batteries, auto shops, as I said before, engines, electrical repairs, oil changes, and as well as shuttle services and tires and transmissions. Some of our core coverages that you may see on other policies are general liability, max at $500 million per location, $5 million per policy. Property coverage, both can be written as monoline or together as a BOP, as well as workers' compensation, commercial auto, and umbrella. All of these things can be we can absolutely extend some of the coverages that you may see here. In cases of employers' legal liability, we can go as high as $1 million for those particular coverages if you are looking for higher limits in those areas. Some of our specialty coverages that we're really proud of are our garage completed operations, and I'd like to stress the faulty work and defective product. Hartford will pay the 100% of the repair costs that if the work is being done by the insured's shop. So let's say that your shop puts in a faulty engine, and maybe a week or two down the line, that engine throws a rod or breaks down. If that customer comes back to the shop and they would like to make a claim on that particular engine, Hartford will pay the 100% of the repair costs that needs to be made to get that engine out, get a new one back in, and the services fees that are involved with that. Another great feature is the garage keepers coverage that we look forward to providing you, which extends coverage for damage or loss to a customer's auto while it is in the insured's care, custody, and control, as well as hired and non-owned auto liability. So if the shop has some of their technicians doing test drives on some of the vehicles to make sure that they are road ready and prepared for everyday use, that is very, very useful for them. As well as employee tools can be covered up to $150,000 per employee. And then obviously the automotive stretch, which provides a more broader and higher limits in computer media, valuable papers, outdoor signs, business income for off-premise utilities, as well as personal property of others, transit property and care of others for hire, as well as contractors' tools, equipment, and more. And I think this time we might want to bring in Paul Sherman and Frank to talk about Good Sam ESP.
Hey, thanks, Dylan. And
I'll change you to the presenter, Paul. 1 second, sorry. Let's see here. You'll see your screen.
Show my screen. Can you, hopefully you can see the screen.
There you go.
All right.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to be on this call, and thanks for inviting us. By the way, Frank is not joining us, so Jerry Shimmer, who's the head of our training department for Good Sam ESP, is in the room here with me. And my name is Paul Sherman. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Good Sam's Extended Service Product Plan. And today, what we're going to go through is a plan overview, let you know what types of vehicles qualify, what's covered, who can quote, and how do you quote, some of the key administration and reporting pieces. And then really the fun stuff is what's in it for your business, your shops, how do you make money on this program, how easy is it? And we're going to show you that, and we'll go through a spreadsheet that we put together that is just a quick calculator to take a look at, you know, what does that mean commission-wise to you and to your shops? How do you get started? And then we'll do some Q&A. So jumping right into it, for those of you who are not familiar with Good Sam's been around since the 60s. It's a club-based organization. And so out of that, in 1996, we created this program, the Mechanical Breakdown Insurance Division, specifically for our members, and it was created by our members. And I'm going to walk you through that, but the overall organization has been around for a very long time. Our Mechanical Breakdown Insurance, it is an insurance. It's not your typical warranty, so it does have to be written and sold by an agent. We'll talk about your shops and how do they engage, since they aren't licensed agents, but I wanted to really drill home that part that this is an insurance-based product, overseen and underwritten by QBE, which is an A+ rated insurer out of Europe. Good Sam ESP is the only mechanical breakdown insurance that's licensed in all 50 states for all classes of RVs. As far as eligibility, what's great is it's we offer a product for a wide range of vehicles. On motorhomes, as you're seeing on this eligibility screen, anything 2003 or newer, under 100,000 miles for gas, 120,000 miles on the diesel side. On the auto, truck, and SUV, same thing, 2003 or newer, under 100,000 miles. And then on travel trailers and fifth wheels, since there's not a transmission or an engine, it's 15 years or newer. And one of the things that you'll see as we go through a few of these examples is we cover most makes and models. There's a few exceptions to that in the luxury brands or areas where there's a high probability of mechanical breakdowns, such as Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari, and some of those higher end models. But it's intuitive, it's in the portal, you'll be able to see that right away. What we primarily are covering, and some of you on this call may be familiar with it, you have an exclusionary policy and an inclusionary policy. We're very upfront. Ours is an exclusionary policy, and so we're covering, if it's not listed on there as an exclusion, then we're covering it. So seals, gaskets, the dash, AC, steering assembly, heating, cooling, engine, electrical, suspension, braking, transmission, drive axle, fuel delivery, all the main components of the vehicle. We actually allow in our coverage that there's going to be wear and tear with these vehicles. We're not excluding for wear and tear, we're just excluding normal wear and tear items such as tires, brakes, and brake pads, I should say, not the actual braking system such as the cylinders, but the components that would wear out with time. As far as quoting, it's great because it's all web-based. It's a portal, so there's a URL. Every person on this call that signs up to have access, you're going to get a URL. You'll put it into any browser. Once you get in there, you're going to have a username and password. You'll populate that. You can save it, and then when you go in there, you don't have to have it populated each time, and then go through and start the quote process. And I'm actually going to bounce out of this and show you one of the quotes, but that user ID is what ties everything back to you so that you're getting paid commission. That's what you'll see on the reporting when I show you a copy of the reporting, is it's tied into your unique user ID. There's nothing, one of the questions that came up in the last training that we had around this was, you know, how could I share this user ID and password with let's say, you know, a shop, and a shop we could set up independently, but that user ID and password doesn't allow, if somebody used that, they're not getting into anything that would be proprietary that could cause any sort of damage, mess anything up. All that really we use that for is to track it back to you so that we can pay you the commission that you would have earned through this process. Let me bounce out here and get to my browser. So when you would log in, this is basically, you'd have the login screen and then it would go to this getting started page. And I'm going to go through really quickly and do a quote just so you can see what it looks like. And before I go into this, one thing I want to point out, which I think is exceptionally unique about this program and should make you feel really comfortable about positioning it and about your shop's positioning it, is this is not like what you buy at the dealership where, first of all, there's a middleman and the markup is substantial, but you're contracting for a period of time, paying for that, and then they're breaking it into payments, but you paid that whole policy up front. We don't do that. We earn your business every single month. We want you to do business with us because you like the product that you have with us. So even though your rate is locked in, your customers pay month by month. They could cancel anytime, and that gives you the flexibility to know that we really stand behind the product that we're delivering to you. So jumping in to do a quote here, on the vehicle type, you're going to see here, and those of you that are on this call that aren't familiar with motorhomes, there's 3 classes of motorhome. Type A, and I might reach out to Jerry here to help me with this, but a type A motorhome are the big, like, bus ones that you see that are, you know, like those Prevosts, the large ones. A class B is more like a Mercedes Sprinter, like those vans that you see out there. And then a class C is almost like the U-Haul type, where it has like the front end and the engine to it. So we cover all 3 of those types of class of motorhomes. We also cover the 5th wheel folding campers, believe it or not, truck campers and travel trailers. So some on this call, if you're not familiar in the camping world, might say, why do I need a 5th wheel or a folding camper covered? Most of those, there's a huge expense of fixing any one of those, even without an engine and transmission. Most of them are assembled or built inside of a factory, whereas even the refrigerator is built on the platform and then the walls and everything come up around it. So when a refrigerator goes out, it's not like going to Best Buy and spending $300 or $400 for a small refrigerator and putting it in there. Sometimes it's taking out part of the 5th wheel, whether that be glass or doors, to pulling out a refrigerator to get one back in. And it's about a $2,000 fix just to replace the refrigerator, for those of you that aren't familiar in that space. So we do cover those. It's a huge part of our business. And then you'll see cars, SUVs, and trucks. So we'll go ahead and select cars, SUVs, and trucks. This question that comes up, does it have a tow hitch? So that is just, I mean, obviously self-explanatory, and we ask that because vehicles that have a tow hitch typically tend to tow, and when you tow, that's harder on a transmission, so we rate for that. Manufacturer, Jerry, I'm going to use you as an example. What is your vehicle?
2017.
What brand?
Oh, I'm sorry. Dodge.
We'll select a Dodge, and what model is it?
It's a Ram 2500.
Ram 2500. And you said what year?
17.
2017. And what's your zip code, Jerry?
92646.
So there's step one. Step two is owner information. I'm just going to fill this out, and we are very quick in the process after of getting something out, a personalized quote to the individual. So I'm just going to let the team know that this is a test by using test as the first and last name. And as you can see, I've done this before since it pre-populated all of the information. So it's asking basic information, just so as you can see, it's not asking social security number, it's not asking anything that would be personalized other than first, last names, their email address, a phone number, zip code, and then city and state. Down here, it's basically if they want to receive any communication about any other products or services from the club. So say no, and continue. You can see it working at the top there. Vehicle information. One thing I want to point out here, we don't cover pre-existing conditions, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, but we're not asking, in this quote for the individual to go into a shop, get it inspected. They're going online. Your shop is going to fill this out. You're going to fill this out for the customer. There's not an inspection required. We're taking it on basically face value that what they're putting in here is correct. So on mileage, let's say Jerry has 20,000 miles on his vehicle. Gasoline?
Yep.
Gas?
Not diesel. Yeah.
And what engine do you have, Jerry? Is it the 5.7, 5.9?
6.4.
6.4. All right. Wow, you know your vehicle. All right. Transmission. Automatic transmission.
Yeah.
Is it four-wheel drive?
Yeah.
All right. In California, four-wheel drive, huh?
I live out here.
All right.
I used to have snow.
Yeah, no snow in California, or at least where you live in California. And Jerry owns it. So on here, if a customer is looking at purchasing a vehicle, and we see this a lot in the RV side, they want to know if they're buying a used rig or even a new rig, what is it going to cost to put an extended service plan on this? So we give them that option of saying yes, they own it, or no, it's a potential purchase. We don't want to follow up and bother them if it's a potential purchase. And as you can see over here on the right, it's got the personalized quote. One thing that's an update that's coming down here shortly in the next couple months is when they put this vehicle information here to pre-populate the correct image here. Right now, we're just using a generic vehicle type for an image in here. On the deductible, we're getting, as you can see, there's several different options here. They can lock in the policy term for 3 years, or up here you can see 6 years. In addition to that, they could select a $100 deductible, a $250 deductible, or a $500 deductible. And then they have payment options. You could pay monthly, quarterly, or you could pay the entire term of the premium. And then you can add tire protection coverage, which is a big one in the RV space. So let's select the $100 deductible for 3 years, no on tire. And here's a quote. So it's got all the owner information. We're asking to confirm the details of this because one thing is if they go on and say that their vehicle has 20,000 miles and then they turn in a claim 30 days later and has 80,000 miles on it, that could cause us to not cover the claim and terminate the policy. So we're taking them on face value without the inspection, but they need to be accurate. If this is being sold by your shop, or originated at your shops, I'm sure that this is probably going to be pretty darn accurate. Here's the policy information on the terms. Premium is $1,000 for the 3 years, or $29 a month. When you think of a Dodge 2500 series truck, which is a pretty pricey vehicle, and especially with four-wheel drive that could break down, to protect it with this policy for $30 a month for a $100 deductible is a pretty good, reasonable price to pay. So then the next step would be basically to buy it now, and then it'll have all of their information again if that they put in their VIN number, and they do need the VIN number, by the way, to continue. You could push no, but it's not going to let you bind the coverage without the VIN number. And it's going to ask if they're a Good Sam Club member. As part of this purchase, when they do this, we're chartered as a member-only benefit. So they will be, as part of this purchase, they're going to be buying a Good Sam Club membership, which is $25 to their policy. And that's going to give them, in addition to the several other benefits that are open to our members. And I'm going to go ahead and stop there because I don't have a VIN number, but at the end it will say complete. They'll put in their credit card information, click it, and then the policy is, in essence, bound. You can see you got the quote number here. They could print it, and then they could get a quote on an additional vehicle. Let's get back to the presentation here. So as you can see, I was stopping and talking, so that took me a few minutes, but typically it's about a 2-minute process, maybe 3, to go through and complete a quote all the way through to purchase. Right here where I put pre-existing conditions not covered, and I'm saying your auto service customers can bind when they're in for service. What I'm meaning by that is if they're in there and they're getting their transmission's blown, we're not saying, hey, go sell them a mechanical breakdown insurance policy because it's pre-existing. What we're saying is this is a great product for your service customers, your shop customers that have customers that are repeat, that come in to get oil changes, tires rotated, whatever that looks like, to say, hey, that vehicle is getting up there in age. You might want to look at adding, a mechanical breakdown insurance policy on it. In a couple of minutes, I could just give you a quote on it. It's no obligation, and get started there. So this is a really good area for them to transition and pivot, take care of their customer, and also they will be able to service that customer. So by them selling it, they'll be able, if the customer has an issue, they'll be able to come into their shop. The shop will then call in, get a authorization to repair. Once they have the authorization to repair, then they could go ahead and begin work. One of the questions that came up from the last training was if we use genuine factory parts. And I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. On the RV side, it's next to impossible to use OEM parts. They don't overproduce the parts, so it's usually like products. So we do our best to replace it with OEM if it's available. More likely not on the RV side, it's a like product. On the auto side, again, if they have an OEM product that's available, we're going to replace it with genuine OEM products. If it's not available, then we'll go to a like type of product. On the administration side, I'll go through a few of this, but on the right-hand side, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but we produce a weekly report. It's going to tell you several different things. The source of lead, which is you, that's the username that you put in. It's going to talk about the quoting premium. There's another area that says closing salesperson, which I'm going to talk about in a minute on different options that you can use. When the policy was sold, and then when the payment was processed. So this comes out weekly. You can look at it, feel comfortable that everything that you're generating or your shop is generating is being captured in here. And if it's not, you can email us and or call, and we'll hunt that down and add it to the report and get you paid. All the leads are protected from 14 days from quote. And then after that, it goes into the dialer, and the call center will work it and see if they can move the customer forward. Customers can also be directed if you or your shop have any issues with payments, claims, whatever, just general customer service. You could direct them to the Good Sam call center. And commissions are paid monthly within 45 days of close. And we handle all the collection of the premium, the customer service, and all the claims administration, which is another huge benefit. So all you do is originate it, and you can pass it on. I'm going to talk about here on what that commission structure looks like. So we make it really easy for you all and your shops to do business with us. So if we look at it from an agency perspective, the average auto premium for one of our policies is $930. We're going to pay 21% of that to you for the first term of that policy if you close it. So on average, $195. If you start it, but you don't want to close it, or you don't feel comfortable and you want to transfer it to the call center or engage a call center agent, we'll work it. If you just start the quote, we'll go ahead and jump in, and you still get paid commission on that. It drops from 21 to 11%. So you're still making $102 for literally just originating that or getting them engaged or even excited at all to complete the quote. After 60 days, there's no chargebacks. Even if the customer cancels on day 61, you've earned your commission, you're paid, it's done. Full commission paid for any policies bound online after a quote by the agency. And then here's where it comes in, and I think this is where the real money is at, is in the service center, the auto service center customers. So we'll pay your auto service centers $10 for every one of those completed qualified quotes. And since it's a web portal, if they have a browser on any one of their terminals and they're talking and engaging with their customer, they could go on, do a quick quote, and I would highly recommend that they do that to almost every customer, even if the customer is lukewarm, just so that they have it and they know it's, that they can add this to their vehicle. 15% of that commission is going to get paid to you when the sale is closed by you. So if they go on and originate it, and let's say the customer's at the shop and they just go ahead and go all the way through payment, they want to do it, you're getting paid that 15%. Or if your shop engages you to close it, you're getting paid 15%. If you are not available, or you'd rather the shop just engage with us directly, then we still pay you a commission. So you're getting paid 5% when the shop originates it and engages our call center directly. So you're still getting paid $46 on average for every one of those customers. And then payment per quote can be adjusted if the average conversion exceeds 15%. So I'm going to pop out here again, and let's do some math together. Let me move it over to the right screen so you all can see it. So the Stuckey agency put together this great little calculator, and I believe, Dylan, you can send this out to the team if they wanted to, anyone on the call, if they wanted to play around with these numbers and put them in there. But and we can mess around with any numbers, but if there's anyone on here that wants to email or say what numbers we should throw in here, we just kind of took an average and put it in here. So this is going to calculate the income from each auto service shop. So if you have if your shop has 30 average customers, 6 days a week, so they're serving annually about 9,360. And I think this is actually wrong. I apologize. This should say $10 per lead. That's $140,000 for that particular shop. Let me see if I could change the math in it. It didn't change the formula here, but I'll update that and get it sent out. And then if you served 20 auto clients and the average daily customers from this math up here was 30, so 20 times 30 times 6 days a week, so 187,000. Average premium is $900. As we looked at before. Average one of the mechanical breakdown policies is $900. the opportunity at a 20% close rate is pretty substantial, 33 million, 21% income. If you had those 20 shops doing that, you're adding about $7 million into your pocket based on those numbers. And we could really adjust this to make it any number if it's 10. If you only had 10 auto service clients and the average daily customers is 30, you're still looking at 3.5 million. So you can mess around with these numbers and see that it's a very sizable amount of money and a very easy product to sell. Go back here. So how do you sign up? It's really simple. The Stuckey team will send a service provider registration, which is on the screen. Take 30 seconds, fill it out, send it in. We get you registered. We get your credentials sent out. And what we'll do is we'll give you a $10 gift card, your choice of merchants for every one of these that we get back after the training. We'll send you a link and you can get a $10 merchant card to Starbucks, Amazon, wherever you want. And that's really the presentation. So do we want to open it up for Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it very much. Excellent presentation for sure. It does appear we do have quite a few questions, which is a great thing. So I'll go ahead and share those, and let's see what the first question is. Actually, the first one looks like it's more related to the Tuniacs program. So, Dylan, I didn't know if you would want to answer this one. The question is, does the Tuniacs program offer coverage for body shops that also have towing operations?
So thank you for the question. So unfortunately, we do not offer coverage for the tow truck itself. So let's say that your body shop is subcontracting for a tow company to bring cars to your shop. We can absolutely insure them that way. But unfortunately, right now, we do not have a market for tow trucks that are operating with conjunction to the to either the to the body shop or the automotive shop.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's go to the next question. All right, this one's more than likely for you, Paul. How much is the membership for Good Sam? I do believe I think it's $25. Is that correct, Paul?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's see what else we got here. I believe this was a question maybe asked on the last webinar. Is this the same warranty as to get from like a dealership?
So that's a great question. I should have covered. I'm going to add that to the next training. So the difference between the products that are sold at a dealership and this one is the products that are sold by a dealership are backed. When I say backed, they are reinsured sometimes by an insurance company. So what that means is those products they're taking in cash, and if the claims exceed, and you've probably seen this for those of you who've been in the industry a while or had an extended warranty, will see that they fold shop pretty frequently. There's really not a lot of oversight, and for the ones that do have a reinsurance policy behind it, they're usually covered at 10 cents on the dollar. It doesn't mean that the consumer is covered, and there's a substantial amount of markup. If you've been in the dealership and you got into the finance department and they're hammering you on the extended warranty, and they start at $30 a month, and before you know it, they're at $15 a month to get you to buy. In this product, you're really cutting out the middleman. There isn't a middleman. It's an insurance product, so everything we do, we sell, all claims are overseen by the insurance commission in all 50 states that were registered. One thing I didn't cover also that's a little different is we have a review board process that is funded and overseen by Good Sam. I'm a part of that review board process. And we meet weekly and we look at all claims that have been denied. And if there's any possibility that a customer could have been confused, that it's right on the line of whether we should have covered it, then we go ahead and Good Sam, out of our pockets, we go ahead and pay that claim. And in just last week's meeting, we paid over $30,000 out of our own pocket just in claims that we felt should have been paid. So those are really the unique portions of this program versus a typical warranty.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. All right, let's see if we have more. Let's see. Is there any other terms available during the program rather than the 12-month term? I think there is a quarterly one mentioned too on there. Is there any other ones besides those?
For payments, you could pay monthly, quarterly, annually, or the entire policy. So in that, if you remember back on that example, there was a 3-year and a 6-year that you could lock in for. You could pay all 3 years or all 6 years, or just pay monthly, quarterly, or annually.
Okay, great. And the next question we have, is the program available in all states?
Yes. Yep, we're the only one that is registered and licensed in all 50 states for RVs, and one of the few in California. California is a highly regulated state, as we all know, so we're one of the few in California that can offer this product.
Okay, excellent. All right, looks like we got one more. Can the plan be purchased at any time up to the mileage requirement and or within the time frame of a vehicle purchase?
So it can be purchased anytime up to that mileage limit, and there is no mileage. Just so you know, I don't know if I touched on this. There's no mileage restrictions, no annual mileage restrictions. So if let's say they bought it at 95,000 miles and drove it that year and put 100,000 miles in that year, the product would still be covered because there's no annual mileage restrictions on it as long as it's purchased before those limits.
And it's under 150,000, so at 150,000 we stop covering.
Jerry just correct me, up to 150,000. So if they bought it at 95, there's no restrictions up to 150,000 miles.
Okay, excellent. We have one more that popped up. If an agent signs up one of their shops, one of their clients signs them up for the ESPA program, will they have their own sign-on or will they use the agents? If you can clarify that.
What we probably do is assign them their own and then tie it back to the agent. So we know within our system that shop falls under that agent, and that's how you'd see it in the reporting.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, I guess that's it with the questions. And again, thank you, Paul. Appreciate your time today and presenting, and look forward to see, what's going to happen with everything. And I'm not sure if I lost my, 1 second, I'm sorry.
Hey, Dylan, if you have just a second, Jerry wanted to interject a couple of things here. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, so one of the things that Paul talked about is like when somebody's in getting their, services that the shops can actually present the extended service plan. One of the things that I always bring up is the fact that even if they're in there for a big repair, even though we don't cover pre-existing, if they're in there because their transmission blows and they're in there to get that repair, that's a great time to present the extended service plan to cover them on any of these high cost expenses down the road. So I pretty much say anytime they're in a shop, it's a good time to present it. Obviously the maintenance that they're doing, their oil changes and things of that nature are great, but even if they're in there for a big repair, it's a great time to present it because they can actually use that as a leverage of, hey, instead of having to pay this, you would have been covered under the extended service plan. So just wanted to bring that point up, that it's a good time no matter when they're in the shop to present it, just as long as they understand no pre-existing. And then the other thing to let the shops know is that unlike, I think one of the big differences is, and you were talking about the dealership versus ours, is most that you purchase under the dealership or even other companies, once that claim is approved and the work's completed, the shops typically wait for a check, sometimes 2 weeks out. With ours, the minute that work is completed, the underwriter or we, Good Sam, will pay over the phone to the shop right then and there by credit card. So those shops are paid immediately once that work is done. So they can look at that as good money. The minute that claim's approved, they complete that work. If that work's completed same day, they call back, we go ahead and pay them directly right over the phone. And that's a really good point to let your shops know that they are not waiting for a claim check for reimbursement.
Yeah, and I think that is a phenomenal thing, and I absolutely stress that every time that I bring this Good Sam opportunity to any of the shops or even my fellow agents. I try to let them know that just because they think that that they have tried a product similar to this, that they may or may not get paid. I highly make sure that they understand that they will be paid for the repairs that are being made, and they will be made. They will have these payments quickly.
Yeah, I like to know waiting for the checks. It's just they call back, we give them a credit card over the phone, and they're paid right then and there. So, the way the way I like to tell them is Good Sam is good money.
Absolutely.
I think that was it from our end. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, we did have some, this is going so well, we do have some more questions. I know we're kind of running out of time, but if you can answer them quickly, you guys, that would be excellent. The first one is there an age limit is there an age limit on the vehicle? Does that matter?
Yes, 15 years or newer.
Okay. And then lastly, what does the benefits of the $25 membership include?
So I could pull that up, but there's different discounts at campgrounds, gas stations, such as like Flying J and Pilot. There's discounts on different, we have different products within our group that sometimes are riskier, harder to get, which is Insuring Rvs for one of them is one that a lot of that we get questions on, since there's limited places that could do it. So we offer that through the club. We own quite a few different companies. So if you're familiar with Gander Mountain, which had went bankrupt, we purchased it out of bankruptcy and rebranded it Gander Outdoors. So there's discounts across every one of those locations. Overton's is another one of our brands. Uncle Dan's, Airhorns, thehouse.com, any Camping World, both on the RV side and on the Camping World retail side, which is a full retail store at one of our 130 locations across the U.S. There's discounts that are, you can take that membership and get a discount at any one of those locations. And I'm probably missing quite a few, but those are the primary ones.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All right. Well, thanks again to you both for presenting today and answering all the questions. And thank you, Dylan, for explaining a little more about Tuniacs and everything. The last slide, I wanted to kind of go over the top reasons to choose Tuniacs. Obviously, we have one of our top carriers backing up our product, which is always a good thing. Our underwriters here, are always knowledgeable with quick turnaround on quotes. Of course, the top commissions. The commissions to me seem to be very competitive. We also have industry-specific premium credits and debits that we always can include. Industry-leading in BOP, comp auto, and umbrella. We do a lot of more garage operations and garage keepers, with the policy limits. Faulty work and defective products, as Dylan mentioned, 100% repair cost. Auto services stretch, which Dylan went into that a little further, and then no additional supplemental application required, which is great. And then drive traffic and income to customer shop with the exclusive ESP program. All right, well, thanks again. And again, if anybody has any questions, here is the application that I'll be sending out following up after the webinar, which will include, a link to the recording, the presentation. I'll also attach an appetite guide of Tuniacs. And if you got any questions, here's our contact information, and we look forward to hearing it from everybody. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you again, Paul and Jerry. I definitely look forward to talking to you guys here soon.